Of course, Vice President Pence will be in the Magic City, touchdown time at 12 noon. This talk to the folks, some of the areas that they should try and avoid today and tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely, Scott. The motorcade's going to move several times throughout the day to some venues in the downtown area, and those are going to be some very brief disruptions of traffic. So Riverstone obviously is a location in First, South, and 27th area for a while will be blocked off. The biggest disruption is going to be around the Doubletree. We do have an overnight stay, so that entire block from 26th to 27th and from First North to Montana will be completely shut down for a 24-hour period starting at about 9:30. So if there's any business down there, foot traffic's allowed. Vehicular traffic will be directed to a checkpoint. But as I indicated, if you don't want to take part in any of the fanfare there, just avoid that area. But other than that, as the motorcade moves, again, we're going to move from the airport downtown, just some brief to moderate disruptions as the motorcade gets through. And once that happens, then we'll free stuff up. So just asking for some patience as we move. But pretty much the downtown area where you may run into something. So avoid that if you can.
And it's always a great honor when anybody comes to Billings, Vice President Pence, or also President Trump and everything like that. But now we got to talk about something right here because, the city's, trying to tighten up their belt buckle a little bit and everything like that. Now, this is extra costs for the city, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. It's an overtime cost for us. It's not reimbursed. I've tried to get some of the monies back, but that hasn't happened in my time here, and nor the last visit we have, and I don't anticipate this. So we try to schedule as creatively as we can to make sure that we have people working. Primarily it's their work shift. However, there's so many unique nuances to a visit and what's required that we just can't get away from not bringing people in on overtime. So in order to do this right, we have to bring some resources to bear. So you're right, it's kind of counterintuitive. I'm in pretty heavy discussions with the council about budgets and personnel costs and overtime, and here we get hit with a VP visit right in the middle of it. But we'll get it done.
Let's talk a little bit about the budget because we talk about that a lot, and I'm pro law enforcement, and this stuff like what's happening today, which is great for the Magic City and everything, does cost a lot of money, and like you stated, more likely you're not going to be reimbursed for it. So when something like this happens, then do you have to pull money away from other overtime hours that you were expected to spend?
Well, actually, as we come to the close of fiscal 19, which is going to be the end of June, we have overspent our overtime budget. And so basically what we do at the end of the day is that we have never exceeded our authorized budget in general. Last year, $25, $26 million. We're asking for 27 next year. We have never exceeded that. So we basically bottom line move money from one account to another where we have some excess to cover those costs. But when you start looking at being 50% overspent on your overtime budget, that's pretty much where we're at. Those are pretty shocking numbers, and we need to take a look at why that happens. Certainly, we can tighten our belt and be more judicious on what I call discretionary overtime, the things that we can control. But there are other things that we can't. If we have to minimum staff, we bring people in to work a 10-hour shift at time and a half, and we have to have the staffing. Have no control over extension of shifts. We've had a significant number of serious accidents, fatalities, any of our homicides or shootings. Those are all labor-intensive, and that all pecks away at your overtime fund. So a combination of all of those, and then interject a VIP visit, and that just adds to the situation. But we'll get it done like we always do.
Well, Juan, thank you for coming on this morning. And, of course, all the activities start about high noon when the vice president lands his plane, but a lot of other stuff is in Motation area. Of course, downtown Billings is going to be, bad terminology, but hit the hardest by some closures, correct?
That's correct. Right. It's not as bad as it was when President Trump was here because North 27th is open. Prior to the prior visit, we had that closed. But now north-south traffic will be able to pass through, so that'll be helpful. You know, the thing that really is exacerbating the whole situation is the construction.
Yeah.
You know, on top of the closures that we have, we could detour you right into a road closed situation. So that's going to be a little bit more difficult. That's why we don't have a lot of activity scheduled for 27th because of all the construction and the detours. It just wouldn't work very well for any vice presidential activities.
And we got to talk about one of the main reasons the vice president is coming to the Magic City. Talk about illegal drugs and a project called Yellowstone Connect. Talk about how important this project is.
Well, Yellowstone Connect basically is the prevention and treatment side of what we're trying to do with our HIDTA mission, which is to dismantle drug traffic organizations. So enforcement has really not been a problem. I mean, there's no shortage of work, obviously. We get plenty of people arrested. We have significant seizures. Billings, for example, has been Task Force of the Year of a 4-state task force. That's due to, in large part, to hard work, but there's also plenty to do. Where we're really missing out is the prevention and treatment side, and we were able to get some ONDCP monies run through the police department because we're the fiduciary to work on that prevention and treatment side. And so that's what the vice president's going to hear about today. He's going to talk to some of the treatment prevention people. Myself and Colonel Butler will be there to answer anything on the interdiction and enforcement side. But we're trying to close that circle up and provide care on all ends.